There is a quiet panic happening across the wealthiest nations on Earth. It doesn't look like the stock market crashes of the past. There are no frantic traders shouting on trading floors, and there are no long lines of citizens outside failing banks. Instead, this crisis takes place in the dead of night, in beautiful suburban homes across the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. It is the sound of a glowing smartphone screen refreshing a bank account at 3 in the morning, and the heavy silence of a parent wondering how a six-figure salary is no longer enough to cover the baseline cost of existence. For decades, the Tier 1 middle class was defined by a predictable promise. If you went to university, secured a corporate job, and made smart choices, you could build a life entirely free from the shackles of systemic debt. But in 2026, that dream hasn't just faded. It has been systematically dismantled. We are currently living through the structural collapse of consumer credit driven by a record-breaking $1.2 trillion credit bubble. The machine keeps feeding on the financial stability of ordinary households. And the most disturbing part, the people trapped inside this machine are hiding it from their friends, their families, and their colleagues. According to recent macroeconomic data, a staggering 56% of Tier 1 households are now actively seeking external financial advice. More than half of the population in the world's most prosperous economies is now searching for financial guidance. To put that number into perspective, it represents the highest level of financial desperation recorded since the height of the 2008 global financial crash. This is not a normal economic fluctuation. It is a warning signal flashing across the developed world. Think about what that means. More than half of the population in the most prosperous economies on Earth feels increasingly unmoored by day-to-day financial pressure. They are searching for an escape hatch. This surge in financial advice is not being driven by investment opportunities or luxury purchases. It is being driven by something far more fundamental:
survival.
People who did everything right are quietly seeking help. They are consulting financial planners, debt consolidation services, nonprofits, and online communities. And they are all asking the same terrifying question.
I make good money. Why am I running out of cash before the month even ends?
The shame associated with financial struggle keeps this crisis hidden.
Creating a society where everyone assumes they are the only ones drowning. Every January, millions of households sit down to map out their financial goals. They promise to aggressively pay down their credit balances, build an emergency fund, and finally stop living paycheck to paycheck.
But the data reveals a brutal trend.
Over 80% of people who set strict financial goals this year completely failed to meet them. Why is the failure rate so catastrophically high? It isn't because of reckless spending on luxury goods or vacations.
The true culprit is what economists call hidden cost of living adjustments.
While headline inflation numbers printed by governments might look stable on paper,
The unhedged, everyday structural costs beneath the surface tell a very different story.
costs embedded in daily life have quietly accelerated. Home insurance premiums have climbed sharply. Utility rates continue moving higher.
Food supply chains have quietly experienced significant increases.
Individually, these increases seem manageable. Together, they become overwhelming.
Your budget didn't fail because you lacked discipline. Your budget failed because the baseline price of standing still was rewritten.
While you were sleeping.
This brings us to the core of the danger: the unprecedented explosion of revolving consumer credit.
Total credit card balances across the United States have officially surged past $1.2 trillion. At first glance, the financial system still appears intact.
But beneath the surface, mounting pressure tells a different story.
In the past, high credit card balances were often interpreted as a sign of consumer confidence.
People borrowed money because they felt secure about their future income.
But today, the mechanism has inverted.
Consumers are no longer using plastic to fund luxury lifestyles.
They are using credit cards to bridge the growing deficit between stagnant wages and inflation.
The modern consumer increasingly relies on borrowed money simply to maintain stability.
What once functioned as convenience is now supporting essential needs.
When you use a credit card to buy a flight to Ibiza, that is discretionary debt.
But when you carry balances month after month to buy groceries,
heating oil, and car insurance. Point. That is systemic structural failure.
The credit card has transformed dramatically. It has shifted from a tool of convenience
Point into an absolute survival utility. And that transformation may be one of the clearest warning signs of systemic financial stress in modern history.
And this is where we witness the quiet death of the debt-free lifestyle.
For generations, the ultimate financial milestone was to owe absolutely nothing to anyone. The goal was a paid-off mortgage, zero credit balances, and total sovereignty over your income. But with the average credit card interest rate now climbing past 21%, the mathematical reality makes escaping the cycle almost impossible once you fall in. When you carry the average consumer balance of over $6,700 at a 21% annual percentage rate,
making only the minimum monthly payments means
you will spend the next 93 billing cycles nearly 8 years just trying to break even. You will end up paying more in pure interest than the original cost of what you bought. The debt-free lifestyle didn't die because people stopped wanting it.
It died because escaping debt became increasingly difficult.
The system shifted from rewarding savers
point to systematically extracting wealth.
from anyone simply trying to stay afloat.
For millions, financial freedom has become a constantly moving target.
The debt-free dream was not abandoned voluntarily.
It died because the system no longer rewards those trying hardest to remain financially independent. If you are watching this and feeling the weight of this silent collapse, you need to realize that survival requires an immediate shift in strategy.
You cannot play the financial game using the old rules. To protect your wealth in this credit crisis, you must execute a three-step structural defense. First, you must aggressively attack the interest rate, not just the balance. Utilize 0% APR balance transfer options.
Or low-interest personal debt consolidation loans.
To halt the compounding interest machine.
Second, stop prioritizing long-term investments if you are carrying high-interest revolving debt.
A stock market return of 8% means absolutely nothing
if a credit card is hollowing out your cash at 21%.
Finally, park your remaining liquid capital exclusively in Tier 1 high-yield savings accounts to ensure your cash compounds in real terms. While the macroeconomic bubble corrects. the middle-class dream isn't completely gone.
It now belongs exclusively to those who look at the data with absolute candor
and refuse to buy into the illusion of easy credit. If you want to decode the hidden economic forces shaping your money,
Make sure to hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and take control of your financial math. I'll see you in the next breakdown.